So can we upload them all at once? Okay, we back on, y'all. And this is the letter to my church. To whom it may concern. I was told that there were some people in this church who claimed to be afraid of me and my girls. I've thought about this for some time and it disturbed me to my soul. I find that funny when I have been concerned about our safety in this church for years. I personally have been afflicted, disrespected, harassed, threatened, and intimidated about so many different petty things that it's a shame. I was also told that I could not address anything in reference to the complaint of the sexual harassment that we filed. But how can I address this? This threatening thing in a meeting that I now get an opportunity to go before my church, which is what I've been asking for the past couple of months. How can I go before my church with a little bit of information of the whole issue? Well, I cannot speak on one piece of it. When the threatening of the church without speaking on the whole issue of the threatening of the church. Action, reaction. Nothing just happens. There's an action and a reaction. This would effectively evoke the one to the other if I do one without the other. Okay. However, since the exploitation of me and my girls, we have requested several times to be heard by our church on this matter, that they have an opportunity to make an informed decision on this matter themselves. How can anyone respectfully make a conscious decision when they don't have all the pieces to the puzzle? However, we have yet to be heard by our church for our sake. Now we are being asked to go before the church for their sake.
God forbid.
God forbid that. How can this be appropriate? How can this be fair? Proverbs 21:15 says, when justice is done, it is a joy to the righteous, but terror to the evildoers. We have done nothing but do good for our church since we have been there. More than the average soul coming through these doors, not to be puffed up or anything, but it is the truth. We have been very ministerial to our church. We have reached out, we have reached in, we have celebrated, we have worked with, we have communed together, we have done everything possible that a fellow Christian. We have took positions in the church, we have took leadership in the church, we have organized, we've done everything that anybody could do for their church and then some. Over the years, we have been here. We have been very disrespected by certain members of this church, but loved by others, and you know whose you are. There is no need to put you on blast. However, I will just leave you to God. Saying that to say this, never have we, my family and I, ever been truly embraced by this church. And what that tells me is there are some people who are leaders and some are followers. We choose to be leaders. How about you? The question is about fear. And who is the spirit of fear, I ask you? When you treat people with care and love, then what is it to be afraid of? Or who are you afraid of? 2 Timothy says in 1:7, for God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. And on that note, where did your fear come from? I ask you, people. And who has power over you? Well, it has come to my attention that we have been accused of threatening this church, of shooting it up. My question is, are you worthy of this? Do you feel you deserve this? Or are you guilty of shooting us up with your accusations and your disloyalty, with your disrespect, with your distrust, and ultimately your disassociations. We have done nothing but try to build on God's kingdom and build up his church while watching other members backbiting, manipulating, and destroying the church as a whole. The fear of this church has nothing to do with us. This is the result of a spiritual immature church. The church should only fear the wrath of God and nothing or no one else. It is the lack of Bible believing, Bible teaching, gospel preaching, and outreach reaching in relationship with God that is causing this fear, which in turn shoots out the walls that are crying out for ministry. This church was founded and built on ministry, but it has lost sight of its mission and purpose. You can accuse us or me of whatever you want to, but it will not change a thing in this church. You can dismember me. You can disassociate me, but it will not change a thing in this church.
Nope.
Isn't it funny that as many people who have been baptized in this church, who have walked through these doors, but yet are still gone out of them, old and new members, there are no longer here, has yet to come back, and it's not because of us.
Nope.
I suggest that each individual of this church look up what it means to be a member and ask yourselves, have you been ungodly? Have you been anti-Christ-like or non-inviting to protect yourselves from being shot up to heaven? Or have you been closed-minded, standoffish, cold-hearted, unloving, self-respect protected, laid back, and just downright set in your ways? Well, just to let you know, this is the opposite of a member in the body of Christ. What I know about a God-fearing person is faith, hope, and charity, and above all is love. This is all of what we have come with. However, there has been times when we felt like, was it worth it? That it's all for nothing. But I know who my daddy is and what he has in store for us. And it doesn't sound like bullets, but shouts with joy. So if the question is, do we plan to shoot up this church? Then I tell you today, God forbid, when all we have to do is wipe the dust off our feet and keep it moving, because no one in this world is worth our salvation. Peace, my brothers and sisters, unto you. Salah. And this is why we are mad at